Procedure for public comment. Members of the public will be allowed to address the board during the board's consideration of each agenda item. If you wish to speak on any item appearing on the agenda, please fill out a speaker card noting the number of the agenda item about which you wish to speak and present it to the board clerk. If you wish to speak about more than one agenda item, please fill out a separate card for each item. If you wish to speak under public comment, please note that on the speaker card. When the matter is announced, please approach the speaker's lectern after being recognized by the chair. Roll call, please.
Supervisor McKelly?
Here.
Supervisor Flores?
Present.
Supervisor Ziegemeier? Here. Supervisor Baines?
Present.
Okay, if we could join me for the invocation. Is Richard Loftman here? No, Richard. Okay. Would Maggie Walker like to lead us in a prayer?
Dear Lord, let us all bow our heads to go over our meeting today, and we all have an open mind and have the Lord watch and listen to everybody's comments, have our supervisors have their open minds and be able to listen, and as well as the community members able to listen to our board, and let Jesus open our hearts to all positive thoughts. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. Would everybody join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Okay, gentlemen, will you join me up front for some presentations?
Will Nicole Rittner, Chief Probation Officer, please join the board up front for a presentation of a proclamation recognizing July 21 through July 27th, 2024 as Probation Services Week in Sutter County.
Hello? Okay. Probation Services Week is July 21st through 27th, 2024. Probation professionals play a unique and essential role in our justice system and our state. Their work balances the need for accountability with the opportunity for justice-involved individuals to engage in rehabilitative treatment and services, providing support and the opportunity to help change their lives. Probation departments are the key connector in the justice system and our communities, working to maximize the resources available within the courts, local governments, law enforcement, social services, behavioral health systems, schools, crime survivor organizations, and nonprofits. They have a profound impact on the safety and the health of our communities by working to address the underlying causes of crime, by providing evidence-based supervision and individualized rehabilitative, supportive, and services which reduce recidivism. The Sutter County Board of Supervisors proclaims the week of July 21st through 27th, 2024 as Probation Services Week to highlight probation's immense contributions to our communities and state. I'd like to say a few words.
Thank you. My name is Danya Thompson. I'm the Deputy Chief of the Juvenile Unit at Sutter County. Our chief's on vacation, lucky her. I just wanted to say, Probation Services Week is about showing our appreciation to all of our probation staff for the critical work that they do in keeping our community safe and in guiding and supporting those on probation through the rehabilitative process. I'm probably biased, but I think our staff is pretty incredible, and I'd like to thank you all for everything you do.
Come up, take a picture. Yeah, come on down.
Will Paula Kearns, Health and Human Services Children's Branch Director, please join the board up front to receive a gold resolution in honor of your retirement from Sutter County.
Oh, Paula's leaving us. I hope we have some fun planned, huh? After this retirement? Okay, good. All right. Paula Kearns, Branch Director, Sutter County Children's Services. In August 1997, after earning a master's degree in social work, Paula Kearns began her career with Sutter County as a social worker 4 in the Health and Human Services Department, Children's Services Branch, Child Welfare Services Division. In March 2008, Paula was promoted to Social Worker Supervisor 2, where the supervised social workers in both child welfare and adult protective services. In February 2013, Paula was promoted to Program Manager of Child Welfare Services and Adult Protective Services. In 2018, Paula was promoted to become the first branch director for Children's Services, where she was instrumental in developing a vision for the branch and cohesively uniting staff who hadn't previously worked together to meet common goals. As the Children's Services Branch Director, Paula provided dedicated leadership to over 70 employees while working in partnership with many community agencies and county departments dedicated to caring for the most vulnerable adults, children, and families. And during her almost 27 years public service career, Paula has shown grit and unwavering dedication and determination as a strong advocate for children. She has been a mentor to many social workers who have attained their master's degree in social work and has seen so many go on to accomplish their professional goals, both within Sutter County and beyond. Paula has tirelessly maintained her strength of character and sense of humor and has successfully fostered a collaborative environment working with other county departments and community-based organizations. The Sutter County Board of Supervisors offers its congratulations and sincere appreciation to Paula Kearns on her retirement and causes the names of each of its members to be affixed to this gold resolution as evidence of the board's individual and collective appreciation for 26 years and 11 months of dedicated service to Sutter County and the residents of Sutter County. And we'll miss that accent when you go too. We're gonna miss it, all right? Congratulations.
I can't do 10 things at once, maybe sometimes 2, but I had to write this down today because I felt like I needed to. I usually shoot from the hip, but today I wanted to make sure I thanked everybody and said a few words. Thank you, first of all, to Board of Supervisors for the recognition of my retirement and years of service. I'd also like to thank my husband, who is actually here today, and probably nobody really knew I had a husband. But he has been really instrumental in really supporting me the past 27 years of my career here and well beyond that as well, because we're almost 40 years next year. And then to also thank my HHS leadership colleagues for all their support and my management team, some of whom are here today at Children's Services, and then a lot of my team are here from Children's Services as well. So I really appreciate you being here, and for everyone who works in Children's Services for their dedication and hard work serving our most vulnerable population, the children and families in our community. And they definitely all exude teamwork. We can't do it without each other and the support of each other. And I'm grateful for all the opportunities that have been afforded to me in Sutter County over my career. I've enjoyed also seeing many of you grow and develop your professional development. That's very exciting to see that as well. And people continuing their education, which is key. You are the future, so we appreciate that. And keep calm and carry on.
So Sarah Eberhardt-Rios, Health and Human Services Director. I'd like to invite Paula's staff to come forward and be a part of the picture, as well as her husband. And supervisor comments, or would you like, okay.
I just have a brief comment, Mr. Chairman.
Paula, it's been an honor for me to serve with you the last 9 years on the Health and Human Services Committee. So I want to thank you for all that you've taught me and for tolerating some of that teaching, because I know some of the meetings you're like, oh, doesn't he know this already? But you've taught me a lot since I've been there. I really appreciate that. But besides me, I want to tell you that I've heard from other staff members that you've really taught them up, and you've helped create futures for many of the employees of Sutter County. But to even a larger aspect, you have positively impacted thousands of residents and children in this community. And I just don't even realize, I don't know if people realize the impact that you've really had on those children. And I'm not sure you do either, but thank you for saving many, many lives and for helping people to progress in their own lives throughout your career. And we hope we see you around. You know, come and visit us sometimes in those meetings. We'll still be in there, okay? All right, thank you. Congratulations to you. Okay, we will move on to public comment. Members of the public will be allowed to address the board on items of interest to the public that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Board of Supervisors. State law provides that no discussion or action may be taken on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. We have the speaker cards.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have received 4 public comment cards. The first public comment is Tina Hessong.
And if I could just add one quick thing before we get started. I think that there's a lot of you that are here today to talk about the Sutter Butte name change, and we are going to get into that a little bit later on the agenda. Just wanted to make sure that you know that's not something that this board brought forward, but this is an introduction of that so that we can address it moving forward. So we will leave it at that, and then our CIO, Steve Smith, will explain a little more about that later. Thank you, Tina. Go ahead.
The state of California is now in financial default to the federal government and is in a state of financial freefall. What cost-saving measures is this board considering? May I make a suggestion? We, the people, demand you get rid of the voting machines and go back to hand counting all of our elections. As reported by Chris Street of New California State, the estimated cost per mail-in ballot is $19.50, which includes the printing, paper, postage in and out, and labor. The cost per ballot for a hand count is $1.85. These figures do not even include any of the associated fees with the voting machines. Let's get out our calculators. Using the figures from the Sutter County 2024 primary election, we the people come up with the following numbers. 20,811 votes were cast. That is less than half of the residents of the county who are registered to vote. The total for that is $405,814.50 just for the ballots that were counted. What about the ballots that were not? It would be close to $1 million on top of all of the Dominion contracts, hardware updates, and licenses. How is that cost effective? It's extremely wasteful. This board is wasting the taxpayers' hard-earned money. Why are we wasting money mailing ballots to people who don't return them? The reason the mail-in ballots were put in place was because of a fake pandemic emergency that is now over. If the machines are more efficient and cost-effective, why do we now have voting season and spend more money than is necessary on these voting machines? The Constitution directs us to one-day voting. If generations of us could get results in one day before computers, why does it take so long now? We, the people, demand that you stop using these voting machines to waste our money and subvert our will. We continue to demand a hand count of the March 2024 Prop 1 election. Donna Johnston dodges legitimate issues and questions like the now former head of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, that she did yesterday. We, the people, have the right and the duty to question our elections. We have legitimate issue and questions that need to be resolved. 1,237 votes are missing. Where are they? We are not satisfied by the answer that has been provided. This board and the ROV have a duty to be transparent, and that is not happening. We, the people, are following the proper protocols and respectfully demand that this board command the ROV provide a hand recount of Prop 1 immediately. Thank you.
Our next public comment is Stephanie Rossini.
Hi. I won't repeat information from Tina. Instead, me, who thinks math is a four-letter word, and I don't like to use it because it means mental abuse to humans. But nevertheless, as of less than an hour ago, I found out the current number of registered voters, direct from the office over there, is 53,045. That's a lot of people, because when I was younger, we didn't even have 10,000 people living in the whole area. But anyway, $19.50 per voter cost minimum using the machines. That is, I've got the $19.50 in here. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 50 cents. Now, what can this buy? Oh, what if you multiply it by 53,045? I won't tell you that until I tell you how much it costs per ballot for paper. And that's $1, 3/4 and a dime. That's $1.85 or 95. No, 85, I'm sorry. Like I said, math is a four-letter word. I'm a lady, I don't like using four-letter words. So, okay, so which is less, $1.85 or $19.50? But how much would you save if you thought $1.85 was a little bit cheaper than $19.50? I know government math, it doesn't make sense, especially out of Sacramento. So if you multiply those numbers, and I've got a handy-dandy calculator, and that comes to $936,244.25 in savings versus paper versus machine. Now, machine takes you 2 months, basically a voting season, whereas show your ID, get your ballot, and vote, that's $1.85. Okay, so the savings of the $17.65, like I said, comes to darn near $1 million. Now, you guys are trying to say that we have a funding shortage. Library has less hours. I don't know about you, but those potholes just kill my gut. And if you have a headache, it's bound to activate it. Traffic is so bad that it takes me a heck of a long time. I could probably, if I could get onto a bike and ride it again, I could go faster by bike. Well, anyway, do we want to spend $20 or $2?
Thank you, Stephanie.
Our next public comment is Maggie Walker.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair and Supervisors. I'm so confused about We the People and the voting things. I've actually experienced watching them do the votes, and I am also a poll worker, and you see a lot of elderly come back in, which they didn't want to get out in the heat. They wanted to do their mail-in ballots, but they made a mistake and they wanted to make it correctly. So they come in and surrender their ballots that they made a mistake on and do it right there. They have a hard time with the electronics. Everything's right there at a polling place. But now that I just heard the math of having people count by hand, the cost, I would think if you hired somebody to do the hand count, the minimum wage is what, $16 an hour? And we have so many thousands of voters now. That would take man hours and money to have them come count the votes. And you can't just have one or two people counting because all the votes coming in. And I've heard that Don has offered some of you folks to come in and watch how they do the ballots. I think you should take that up because I've done it as a community member and was so impressed, and things are getting better in counting. And if you really want to see how it works, become a volunteer and be a poll member. And then you can actually see how it works in hand, because it does cost a lot to mail the ballots out. But you know, there's so many elderly folks that can't really get out to do the voting, you know, and it's easier for them to do the mail-in votes, you know. It may be easier for a lot of other people, you know, let's just do it paper and everything. But we're not thinking about the whole community. There are so many more in the community that need that mail-in ballot. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Next speaker.
Our last public comment is Maggie Walker.
No.
Well, hi, guys, I'm back. I just was, you know, I was traveling down Highway 99 Friday, you know, and all of a sudden I'm driving and I went, whoa, there's a stoplight at Wilson Road in the middle of nowhere. What's going on? And then, because I just worry about the Oswald traffic light. I know you guys can't comment it on today, and Supervisor Munger, I've known him for years. He used to be my representative, but he explained to me how Wilson Road came about, and that's understandable. But I was just wondering, maybe in the near future we can get an update on the Oswald traffic light on some agenda. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
To the chair.
Yes.
If I may, just quickly, just in reference to some of the election requests, all the counties are political subdivisions of the state. Some of you may be aware that Shasta County, a year or two ago, wanted to get rid of all the voting machines and the mail-in balloting, and they got sued by the state, and a law was passed that you have to do that. I'm not going to weigh in on whether that was a good or bad lawsuit or policy. I just want people to know we cannot locally just say, you know what, we're going to make this change and do that. If we do, it jeopardizes everyone's vote here. However, it's good that we do hear about what the public wants, because then we can advocate to the state. But just wanted, again, to let people know that if you're sitting there wondering, yeah, why don't they just do this to save money? We just can't legally do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. The consent calendar groups together those items which are considered non-controversial or for which prior policy direction has been given to staff and that require only routine action by the board. The chair will advise the audience that the matters may be adopted in total by one motion. However, the board may, at its option or upon request of a member of the public, consider any matter separately.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Move to approve the consent items 1 through 18.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second by Supervisor Baines and Ziegemeier. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McKelly?
Aye.
Supervisor Flores?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegemeier? Supervisor Baines?
Aye.
All right. First item, Neil Hay.
Adoption of a resolution for project U23-0025 Van Dyke, a resolution to rescind and replace a development rights and open space easement agreement on assessor parcel 33-270-071 to reflect property line modifications proposed by lot line adjustment number M23-0036, located west of Pleasant Grove Road, south of Stripland Road, north of the Auburn Ravine, and west of the Sutter County boundary.
Good afternoon, supervisors. So for this item, this is typically a relatively straightforward and routine item and a matter, and I wanted to bring it to your attention today as opposed to having it on the consent item when it went through the Public Works Committee, because this is an activity that my department brings before your board quite often. We've probably done 3 or 4 of them this year. We have 2 or 3 in the process now, and we expect to do 5 or 6 more before the end of the year. So this came to be because the property owners had roughly, say, about 280 acres that they wanted to subdivide in order to build houses. So general plan policies limit the number of houses that can be constructed in an ag zone. The property in question has a general plan designation of Ag 80. So you can have 1 house every 80 acres. So the development rights agreement that's done when it's kind of subdivided and called out is to prevent subdivisions from being created on ag ground. It is a kind of an extra level of maybe prevention so that development cannot occur in ag communities. But what we wanted to make through the staff report and through this item for a presentation, we want to make you aware of that it becomes a bit of an issue so the property owners pay about $2,000 to have our department process this change. And the reason why they're having this change done is because they're doing a lot line adjustment. So of the existing parcels, they're moving a few parcel lines and making minor changes to the size of the parcels. But so they have to pay just under $800 for the lot line adjustment, and they pay $2,000 to have the development rights agreement, one rescinded and then a new one created because of the new property boundaries. So with that, we want to recommend certainly that your board would approve this action, but we're bringing it forward as a presentation item because with either direction from your board or further consideration, my department could propose and draft either ordinance changes that would both secure and prevent rampant development in agricultural areas, but it may alleviate some of the cost burdens on our property owners when they make small, I'll say relatively small and insignificant changes to their essentially family farms. This facility, or I'll say this property, it has an ag processing facility. It has some, ag residences for their family. Because typically what happens is that if you have a large parcel, property owners may want to break out 3 to 5 acre parcel so that they can build a home site. And that is because it's easier to get financing and essentially secure a smaller parcel for a loan and those type of things, as opposed to the entire maybe 280 acres in this example. But I just wanted to bring it to your attention as a board because from our department we see so many of these. Like I say, we probably average somewhere between 10 and 12 of these a year. And certainly it takes staff time, and we can do that, to process. And we always provide a recommendation of approval by your board. But we wanted to make you aware of that. It, is for the most part, it's a bureaucratic process to prevent any type of rampant development occurring in an ag zone. But also our ordinance code and even some of our general plan policies already prevent those type of things. So it's we wanted to make you aware that it could almost be like a redundant level of government. I will make you aware of. So like I say, it does make it very clear for property owners as to what they can and can't do, and that's why it's always been a component of our department, and it's a requirement when property is divided. But we wanted to make you aware of it so that if you wanted our department to either draft some ordinance language or look at some general plan policies that may still secure ag property, but maybe not such onerous requirements on property owners, we'd bring it to your attention. And with that, I'd be happy to answer questions. Like I say, we're certainly recommending approval of this item. It's rather straightforward and just allows the property to continue as an ag property.
Thank you, Neil. Bring it back to the board for any questions.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Yeah, hey, Neil, you and I we've been talking about this one for a bit now. And, I am in support of this because a lot of times you have a 100-acre ranch that's been in the family for 100 years. And your son graduates or your daughter graduates and they want to move back home. And they can't build a home there on that side because it's zoned. Now, they're not building something to flip or turn around and sell. They're looking at something they want to live on that ranch. And they should be able to, but I do believe it should be a case-by-case basis because then it helps out to go through this protocol and so forth to see exactly who's doing these lot line adjustments and who's putting homes where. Because when it's with the family and so forth, I think that's a big difference. They should have every right to build a home on their ground that they've had for many, many years.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I do have one question to the chair. I am interested in the language that you're talking about for drafting ordinance language to make it less onerous on property owners. So I guess if we're in agreement, I'd like to ask you to bring back that language for us to at least consider or to review. And then with that, I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second by Supervisor Flores and Baines. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McKelly?
Aye.
Supervisor Flores?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegemeier?
Aye.
Supervisor Baines?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Neil. Okay, next up, Sarah Eberhardt Rios.
Approval of a Fourth Amendment to the agreement with California Forensic Medical Group, increasing the annual contract maximum by $187,364 for a new not-to-exceed amount of $3,934,625 for the period of August 1st, 2024 through July 31st, 2025.
Thank you, Vice Chairman and members of the board. Sarah Eberhardt Rios, Health and Human Services Director, and Sheriff Barnes has joined me as well. We're asking for your consideration of a contract amendment with Jail Medical Services Provider, CFMG, also known as WellPath. HHS, in collaboration with the Sheriff's Department, oversees the county's contract with WellPath for basic inmate health services. This contract also includes coverage for specialty care that might need to be provided outside of the jail setting, such as inpatient services or specialized medical care. The standards for required correctional health care are set by the California Code of Regulations, Title 15, which governs the basic health care services that are required within jail settings. The contract extension does cover that year's period of August 1st of 2024 through July 31st of 2025 and providing medical services for up to 290 inmates. We would note that the contract does include a 5% increase of approximately $187,364 over the proposed contract period for that total contracted amount of $3,934,635. This increase is being funded by public health realignment and will cover increased staffing costs, durable medical, pharmacy, and specialty care cost increases incurred by WellPath. Sutter County is actively in negotiations with WellPath to update the existing contract. This update will include language revisions, clarifications to include audit provisions, and CalAIM justice-involved grant and funding requirements, and will come before you at a future date. As such, the most material change in the contract before you today is the 5% increase to the total contracted amount. Health services, as provided by WellPath, include both scheduled services and sick call, intake screenings, assessments, RN monitoring, labs, pharmacy, routine and special needs assessments in the physical of both physical and behavioral health care, as well as routine basic dental. The board first approved this contract in February of 2017 with several amendments over the last 7 years to include updated contract language, addition of COVID-19 requirements, and increases for the cost of medical care. The jail medical budget for fiscal year 2024-25 includes adequate appropriations in professional services to cover this agreement. The remaining amount for the WellPath contract for July of 2025 will be included in the fiscal year 2025-26 requested budget. The general fund provides 47.6% of the funding for the jail medical budget unit. Additional funds supporting this budget unit include public safety realignment, public health realignment, and CalAIM justice-involved grants funds awarded by the California Department of Health Care Services. And with that, the sheriff and I are here and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Sarah. Bring it back to the board. You guys have any questions?
Through the chair, I'm surprised no one's getting up to speak about this one. Wow, the costs of running a jail. That's healthcare right there for the jail. That's not the air conditioner, the electricity, or the aging infrastructure. Because it's old, but healthcare. And we have to do it.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Move approval of the recommended action.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Flores, a second by Supervisor Ziegemeier. A roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McKelly?
Aye.
Supervisor Flores?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegemeier? Supervisor Baines?
Aye.
Okay, next up, Veronica Baumgartner.
Approval of an advanced step request for a Chief Deputy District Attorney at Step 6.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair and Supervisors. Veronica Baumgartner, Interim HR Director. We are excited to be in front of you today to be asking for an advanced step request for a Chief Deputy District Attorney. As you know, this role is very critical in the DA's office, and this position aids the district attorney in directing the overall operations of the department, helping supervise staff, and prosecutes difficult felony cases. The district attorney's office has been actively recruiting for this vacant position for 5 months. Prior to that, though, the position was vacant in January 2023 through November 2023. At this time, an internal promotion filled the position. Then in May 2024, the new incumbent resigned. Since then, we have been recruiting for the position from February 2024 through April 2024, and there were no qualified candidates. As you know, we came in front of your board in May, and your board approved a salary adjustment for the Chief Deputy District Attorney, which helped bring the position from 37.7% below market to approximately 13.8% below market. When we reopened the recruitment in May through June, we were able to get a very qualified applicant, which we are here for today. The district attorney's office has identified a qualified candidate as having exceptional qualifications with over 16 years of trial and case experience. They have prosecuted over 40 jury trials, including 2 very recent guilty murder trials, a number of felony narcotics, marijuana cultivation, special victims, and gang-related cases. The candidate also has years of experience directly supervising and supporting and training other attorneys within their current district attorney agency. Due to the candidate's many years of specialized experience and their leadership role, the candidate has requested an advanced step placement. Lastly, the district attorney's office anticipates that there will be ample salary savings and benefit savings to apply to offset the increase for the current fiscal year and for next fiscal year. If you have any questions, I am here, and the district attorney is also here.
Thank you, Veronica. We'll bring it back to the board for discussion. Anybody questions?
No, I just want to say, I mean, just like any community, along with my colleagues, we always believe that a safe community starts out with a full DA's department and a full sheriff's department, all right? And a full fire department. And this is one of those steps to get there, and this is what we got to do. This is our second go. Actually, this is our third go at this right here, trying to lure the right person in. So I'm excited. I've had great meetings with our DA. We just had a very bad incident happen this past Saturday right here in Sutter County, Yuba City. So like I said, we need a loaded department. We need to have our probation departments and our DAs, our fire and sheriff loaded up here, ready to rock. All right, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right. We have a first by Supervisor Ziegemeier, a second by Supervisor Baines. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor McKelly?
Aye.
Supervisor Flores?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegemeier? Supervisor Baines?
Aye.
All right, moving on to item 22. We'll leave that with our county administrator, Steve Smith. Steve?
receive a presentation regarding a proposal before the U.S. Board of Geographic Names to change the name of the Sutter Buttes and provide direction to staff of board's response to the proposal.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Supervisors. So I want to be very clear from the outset that Sutter County, its staff and officials have had nothing to do with bringing this proposed name change forward to the federal agency, which is the U.S. Board of Geographic Names. I do have a one-slide slideshow that you can see in handouts where the top email address, bgnexec@usgs.gov, that is for the federal agency. The state agency is the California Advisory Committee on Geographic Names, and it's cacgn@resources.ca.gov. So the summary is that Sutter County was recently made aware by the U.S. Board of Geographic Names that a regional citizen petitioned the board for a name change of the Sutter Buttes to be changed to the Sacred Buttes. You may be familiar with other similar name changes, like maybe recently Squaw Valley became Palisades, I think was the name. So in a similar vein, this person petitioned the government, the federal government. Someone there obviously thought, we have, if there is a compelling reason and evidence of support for the change, according to the agency's website under guidance on name proposals. So it went out in a document. We were notified. We wanted to ensure that the public was aware. We know there's likely passionate opinions on both sides. The U.S. Board of Geographic Names is specifically seeking input from the California Advisory Committee on Geographic Names, the California State Parks Department, and every federally recognized tribe within the boundaries of the United States, which per their website or per information they provided us, there's 574 tribes who will be reached out to. In the past, Sutter County residents advocated for about 3 decades to get the change to be the Sutter Buttes, and that was made official by the U.S. Board on Geographic Names back in October of 1949. So in summary, that is it, and of course we're happy to hear any comments you may have, but we'll likely pass them on to the federal and state agencies that weigh in on these. They did mention, they being the federal agency, that they heavily weight local input. So I think the more people that input, whatever your opinion may be, it does matter. So I will end the presentation with that. Happy to answer questions.
Thank you, Steve. I think do we have some speaker cards on this?
We do, Mr. Chairman. We have received 4 comments via email and 7 in-person public comments. Would you like me to read the emailed comments?
Yes, please.
First comment is from Carla Verga. I vehemently oppose, thank you, changing the name of the Sutter Buttes. Please vote against changing the name to placate and assist those trying to obfuscate our history. Second public comment is from Jeannie Thibodeau. I cannot believe the board is actually considering renaming the Sutter Buttes. If you do that, then you also need to rename the town of Sutter and Sutter County. And no, I, along with many others, will reconsider our votes come election time. The third public comment is received from Emma Blackthorne. Dear board members, I strongly support removing John Sutter's name from the sacred landscape known as the Sutter Buttes in Sutter County, California. This action acknowledges historical injustices, honors indigenous people, and restores the dignity of our sacred site tainted by a deeply problematic figure. John Sutter, often romanticized for his role in the gold rush, was a perpetrator of numerous atrocities against Native American communities. His actions included forced labor, enslavement, violent displacement, and brutality, leading to the suffering and deaths of countless Native individuals. Sutter's Fort was not merely a pioneering endeavor, but a site of oppression and exploitation, perpetuating a legacy of pain for the region's Native American tribes. While I am not an enrolled tribal member in the California tribe, I am enrolled at Bad River in Wisconsin. As a fellow Native American living in the region around the Buttes, I find it appalling that we would honor and elevate a man with such a disgraceful contribution to California's indigenous history. The Sutter Buttes, known to many Native American tribes as a sacred and significant landscape, should not bear the name of a man whose actions contributed to the systematic destruction of their cultures and communities. Renaming the sacred site is an act of respect and recognition of the original stewards of the land and their deep spiritual connection to the Buttes. This decision is not about erasing history, but about correcting it. It is an opportunity to honor the resilience and strength of Native American communities and to restore the sacredness of this landscape by disassociating it from a figure whose legacy is incompatible with values of respect, dignity, and justice. I urge the board to take this important step in righting a historical wrong and stand in solidarity with the indigenous people of Sutter County by supporting the removal of John Sutter's name from the sacred landscape. This action will be a powerful statement of our commitment to truth, reconciliation, and the honoring of all cultures and histories. The final public comment that was emailed is from Lisa Moore. Dear board members, I strongly support removing John Sutter's name from the sacred landscape known as the Sutter Buttes in Sutter County. This action acknowledges historical injustices, honors indigenous people, and restores the dignity of a sacred site tainted by a deeply problematic figure. John Sutter, often romanticized for his role in the gold rush, was a perpetrator of numerous atrocities against Native American communities. His actions include forced labor, enslavement, violent displacement, and brutality, leading into the suffering and death of countless Native individuals. Sutter's Fort was not merely a pioneering endeavor, but a site of oppression and exploitation, perpetuating a legacy of pain for the region's Native American tribes. I find it appalling that we would honor and elevate a man with such a disgraceful contribution to California's indigenous history. The Sutter Buttes, known to many Native American tribes as a sacred and significant landscape, should not bear the name of a man whose actions contributed to the systematic destruction of their cultures and communities. Renaming the sacred site is an act of respect and recognition of the original stewards of this land and their deep spiritual connection to the Buttes. This decision is not about erasing history, but about correcting it. It is an opportunity to honor the resilience and strength of our Native American communities and to restore the sacredness of the landscape by disassociating it from a figure whose legacy is incompatible with values of respect, dignity, and justice. I urge the board to take this important step in righting a historical wrong and stand in solidarity with indigenous people of Sutter County by supporting the removal of John Sutter's name from the sacred landscape. This action will be a powerful statement of our commitment to truth, reconciliation, and honoring the cultures of all histories.
And do we have any speaker cards?
We do. We have 7. The first public speaker is Mike Hubbard.
To the chair,
Yes.
if I may, just real quick before Mr. Hubbard speaks.
Sure.
I forgot to mention, we just did a little research on the U.S. Board of Geographic Names. They don't control the names of incorporated cities or counties, so someone couldn't petition that Sutter County be changed, but they do for landmarks like the Buttes, waterfalls, or even unincorporated communities, which may be important to people. There's approximately 350 businesses in Sutter County that have Sutter and/or Sutter Buttes in their names, just so people have that for reference. And then also the next meeting of the California Advisory Committee is in November. We pulled that from their website, so I just wanted to give people a little additional information.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Mr. Hubbard, go ahead.
Now it's on.
There you go.
Great, thank you. My name is Mike Hubbard. I'm on the Sutter Buttes Regional Land Trust. I'm the current president of the board. And the announcement, the publicity that preceded this had a great deal of information regarding a young woman that was involved with our land trust, and it appears as though we were behind this proposal. That is the reason I'm here, because I'd like to make a public statement to clarify that the Sutter Buttes Land Trust is not a part of making this proposal. This was something that an individual did on her own. I want to just come here to clarify in a public statement that the Land Trust does not support this. We're not going to fight it. We are neutral to the idea, and we support the concept of public dialogue and discussion and working out together what's best for the community. And that's all we wanted to say, basically.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Our next public comment is Stephanie Rocinio.
Hi, I'm Steph Racino, and I'm here to say no. Aren't we in the problems we're in because the federal government and the state government dictates to us what to do, how to do it, and how much we're going to spend to do it, eroding away our freedoms and everything else good and sacred? Before my grandfather died, he took me out to the Buttes, only I didn't know that's what we were doing. You know, he said, oh, my grandmother's going to take care of the kids, come with me. He goes, I want you to know I bought a new home. And he goes, I want you to know I bought you one too. And I'm going, oh. So I end up at Sutter Cemetery, and we go on the scene. He says, yep, that's my grave and grandmother's, and the one next to that is for you. That's your future home. And he goes, look at my headstone, the Sutter Buttes. And now I have my son in my grave, and I have to wait till I'm croaked before I can get a VA headstone or come up with a bunch of money. But anyway, be it as it may, it's sacred to us. It should be our opinion. Our community came together in 1949, which was a little bit before I was born. All right, not that much, but enough. And what is different now? We have, what, 70,000 people. Back then we had about 7,000 or 8,000 people. The Sutter Buttes, that's us. And okay, so one guy was bad and he represented, you know, his kind of genre. However, name one person who's without sin. Let him cast the first stone. The Sutter Buttes has been respectful. Remember when they took that 1,200 acres by Peace Valley? They said that they would respect what the Native Americans thought was the Garden of Eden, the beginning and the end. We respect it. We know that some of our past people did some pretty gnarly bad things. Look at our current government, for Pete's sakes. They brought us the scamdemic. They brought us all these constitutional rights going away. They try and stuff things down our throat and tell us it's good for us. Well, when are we going to wake the heck up? This is just a small thing that means something to everyone in this community. The Sutter Buttes, that's our legacy, that's us. That gives us the bragging rights when you go anywhere. We have the smallest mountain range in the world. I look at it and I think, man, that's Nan and Papa and Jason's headstone. And all the other people buried out there. You know, I'm sure there was a lot of good people with the name Sutter. But right now, that's what we have, and it's up to us to pet the history. This guy did some bad things, but he also did something that we all benefit from, and that's have a community here. It just grows. We just replace it with good. You teach the history. You don't try and erase it. I was in New Orleans while my son was dying, and then he loses his body for another month while they were tearing down the statues of Jackson and Lee. And, well, leave the Sutter Buttes as the Sutter Buttes and community galvanize and tell the feds, well, you know which finger to salute them with.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Our next public speaker is Larry Munger.
Thank you, Honorable Supervisors, staff, and citizens for being here. I'm not going to go on and on with it because I'm glad Steve clarified this. Due to the fact is, a lot of the information has not been out there. And I know the board really doesn't have a whole lot to say about it, but they can support it. But what I would recommend is each supervisor go back to their district and have community meetings. And have petitions for and against, and then that way they could send it in November. And that way they'd have more power, to have this, either changed or not changed. There's a lot of landowners here around, and I've talked to some. They're not for it. So if the National Geographic, they want it, let them buy the land and let them change the name. But otherwise, leave it alone. But I agree with them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next public comment is Tina Hessong.
First, I want to thank Mr. Hubbard for his clarification. It changed what I was going to say. Rachel Rain does not speak for all of the people of Sutter County, yet she thinks that renaming our area's treasured land is good for we the people. Renaming the Sutter Buttes to Sacred Buttes because John Sutter reportedly mistreated the Native Indians of this area is preposterous. Historical revisionism is the agenda. What will she want to rename next? Our county? How about Sutter's Fort? We can change it to Mean Man's Fort. Ms. Rain and this board would be mistreating all the people that are living here now by trying to make this unnecessary change to a name. To quote Shakespeare, what is in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Why a 21st century name in English and not a First Nation name to honor the Indians? Making this change will not solve anything or bring justice to anyone. We all have the potential for good and evil within us. It is an age-old struggle. Bending history to make it look like what you want it to look like is a political agenda. None of us were alive during this time, and history is just making an assumption of what happened unless you can actually see it to be true with your own eyes. I am of Indian heritage, and let's just state the fact, both sides of this never-ending conflict have done horrible things to each other. The Indians are not innocent or blameless in the matter throughout history, and even now. Current generation of Indians disenroll and disenfranchise their own people of their heritage over corruption and greed of the casinos. People have been fighting over land since the beginning of time. Meeting a political agenda is not a reason to revise the current history and the will of the people that are living today. However, it is time to ask where the money is coming from to fund such a political agenda. BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, or maybe someone with the name Soros. The Sutter Buttes sits on minerals and untold geological resources. Is this really about a name change or something else? So I asked the members of the board to schedule a public hearing so that the people of the community who elected you to your positions can speak about what they want and feel about this issue. Let them speak their minds before a momentous change is made. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next public comment is Connie Coughlin.
Thank you, Board of Supervisors and Stephen Smith, for your information. And this may be a bit premature. I am really appreciating what the previous speaker said. She hit a lot of keynotes and probably is in line with a lot of what we are thinking. One of the things I'd like to say is it is so human nature to focus on the bad. But what about all the good that we benefited from? And not just we as any one specific race or ethnicity, but we as a community, and we're all part of that community. John Sutter, as we know, has Sutter's Fort in the Sacramento area. The fort became a key trading post and agricultural center, providing refuge for settlers, immigrants, and pioneers, fostering community and development. Introduced new farming techniques, crops, including wheat, grapes, and various fruits. Developed irrigation systems, which we all benefit from in a dry environment. Offered supplies and work for settlers and gold seekers during the gold rush. Employed many immigrants, contributing to population growth and diversity. Built Sutter's Mill with James Marshall, leading to the discovery of gold. His activities indirectly started the gold rush, significantly impacting the state's economy and settlements. Despite his efforts, the influx of gold seekers led to Sutter's loss of property, financial difficulties. However, early contributions helped shape the community and infrastructure as where it is today. I have to say, when is it going to end? When are we going to stop erasing the past? We benefit from the good and we learn from the bad. Let's move forward. Let's leave this, and hopefully we as a community can stop this. I am a lifelong resident of Sutter and Yuba counties. My family goes back 5 generations between the two. I cannot bear to understand why someone thinks changing a name inhibits or diminishes one ethnicity over another. We need to stop the racial injustice and let it be beneficial for all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Connie.
Our next public comment is Janet Johnson.
I don't have any notes today. I'm just going to depend on my Lord and Savior to give me the right words. I was born in Missouri, but my parents came out here when I was 2. And except for 3 years in the mid-'60s being in the LA Upland area, and then in 2003 to 2006, I lived in Idaho. And out of my 78 years, that means that I've lived here 70 years. A long time, and I remember even as a kid, the Sutter Buttes. To me, the Sutter Buttes, I don't consider it sacred. I consider my Lord and Savior and such as that. But it has been a landmark, the Sutter Buttes. When I travel and when I come home, it's coming home when I see the Sutter Buttes. I know I'm coming back to Yuba City. I know I'm coming back to Sutter County. And it's just something that, along with what Steph shared too, I bought 4 plots out at Sutter Cemetery back in '82. It's been like 40 years ago. My oldest son is laid to rest out there. My parents are, my grandparents, my great aunts, my great uncles, aunts and uncles, cousins, and there's many, numerous that are laid out there at Sutter Cemetery. I go out there quite often to visit. And I can always look up and see the buttes. Even on my son's headstone, it's got the buttes on it. And to change the name just because of one individual, this, was it Rachel Rain? Madeline Murray O'Hare, I'm sure you're all familiar with her, one woman. An atheist that was able to change and get rid of prayer out of school, which has been a degradation to our to the United States, to our country. And it's just gone from pretty much from what used to be good, it's getting worse all the time, and people are wanting to erase all this history. And like the others have shared, and I won't go into it totally because they've already shared what they wanted to say, and it's true because you can sit all day and say all these bad things about John Sutter, but he also did a lot of good. And I know there's a lot of people in this room, a lot of individuals that there are a few, I'm sure, older than me, but I would challenge a lot of them. They probably haven't lived here 70 years. I know some have, but a lot of you haven't. And it means a lot to me personally, to my family, to keep it as Sutter Buttes, not Sacred Buttes, because that to me is something that is totally just one person that came up with this idea. And that's all I want to say, and I thank you for your time, and God bless you all, and God bless America.
Thank you.
Our next public speaker is Cherie Stevens.
Hi, I've been a resident of this county, Sutter County, since 1965. My family moved here from St. Helena, Napa County, and my children live in Sutter. My grandchildren will go to Sutter High School, and I have several relatives, family members buried in Sutter Cemetery. As a U.S. history student at UC Davis, a class that I once took was how to study history. And the question was asked to us, if there's something in your family history you discovered, would you write it? Would you tell it? Or do you delete that part? And the answer was, you tell it all, because that's the truth. We do have people across this country, and there isn't any town across America, including Jefferson, including Washington, including, our forefathers that built this country, that there isn't something that we could find that you could possibly be ashamed of. John Sutter contributed tremendously to our communities, to our area. If you want to judge him in today's standards, which is what everyone's doing, they're taking history and they're applying it to today. There is so much that we would not do according to history. We probably would not round up Japanese and put them into encampments. I could go on and on with what we would not do if we're going to judge it in today's terms. But it's not today's terms. It is our history. And to change it, it's, again, I understand, I really appreciate your comments, Mr. Smith, of how you clarified that, because there is the question of how far do you go? And I understand you saying that, there's certain things they can't touch. But it is touching it. When I hiked to Mount Everest Base Camp, and I took a postcard in a little booklet so that as I went along the way, I could explain to people that I trained in the smallest mountain range in the world to hike to the tallest. When last January, when I summited Mount Kilimanjaro, and again, I trained in the smallest mountain the smallest mountain range in the world, the Sutter Buttes, to summit Mount Kilimanjaro. I am proud of it. I completely agree with the comments of when you fly in and you see that volcanic ring, and I'm home. There's the Sutter Buttes. So I understand better today knowing that it isn't just a vote that's going to get taken. But I wanted to be counted as one of those people that stood up and said, I don't agree. Please don't do this. And I had a lot of people say, I posted on Facebook, I posted about today's meeting on Facebook. I had a lot of people make the comment about oh, that's wrong, we're not going to do it, but very few people are here and that made those comments. And so I wanted to be one of those people that came and was the voice of those people that were saying, please don't do this. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Was that the last speaker card? Two more?
We
Okay.
have 2 more comments.
Okay.
The next public speaker is Jerry Libby.
Hi there. I wasn't planning to speak. I didn't bring formal notes. I have to admit, a friend called me and told me about it Saturday night, and then I turned on Fox 40, and there it was. I taped 13 and 3. I'm a news political junkie, and I listened to both of those and nothing, nowhere else. So I am a landowner out there. I've been in this valley since 1955. My in-laws are laid to rest in Sutter Cemetery. My husband and I plan to have our ashes spread on the Sutter Buttes because we love them and want to keep them that way. My grandson, who is a Sutter High School graduate, went to Fort Riley, where I know there's 4 Sutter graduates at Fort Riley. From there, he went to Lithuania. When he came back from Lithuania in 2022 or 2023, all the street names had been changed because they were named after Confederate soldiers, and people were offended. How much money did that cost our government? We have somebody in the audience here. I said that I know went to Fort Bragg. It's now Fort Liberty because Fort Bragg is offensive. Anybody can find anything about our past to offend them. You know, DACA and Auschwitz, they're trying to take that out of our history books because it's offensive, and they want to change our history so they can change how we move forward, and it's just wrong. Also, I heard on the news lately, there's some mountain, I think it was in Yellowstone, it's called Indigenous Peoples Mountain. Where? Where would you think that mountain would be? And now they want to call this Sacred Mountain? I don't think so. Sutter Buttes is here. Sutter Buttes needs to stay now and forever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our last public speaker is Kelly Swanson.
Like the previous lady, I did not come here planning to say anything, and I'm sweating like it's 106 in here, so I'm really nervous.
It might be 106.
I spend a lot of time riding my bike around the Buttes, and I do notice that there is a very substantial monument to Fremont. General Fremont spent maybe 2 weeks in the Buttes, and there's this enormous plaque and thing out there to, you know, honor his little stay there in the Buttes. I would love to see the community come together and not take that down, but please, could we put something there or something somewhere to honor the folks and acknowledge the folks who were here for thousands of years, not 2 weeks in the Buttes, but thousands of years. We know they were here. They still are here. And it might be nice to have an acknowledgement that matches the weight of the Fremont, whatever that thing is out there that I sit on when it gets too hot. And a historical monument, thank you. Yeah. So can we come together in that sense and acknowledge who was here before we all arrived? Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it? Okay, thank you, everybody, for your comments. Appreciate it. I will bring it back to the board for any questions, Steve, or discussion. Gentlemen? Nobody? Steve? Oh, sorry, go ahead. Supervisors. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead,
I'll let
Supervisor.
you go.
I just had a clarification. So, Steve, this isn't for a vote. This is just really someone who asked us to weigh in as a community, right?
just for clarification.
Correct. Yeah, that's why I don't have anything on about a vote. We have various options for people to express their opinions, and again, the emails that are listed, and we'll make sure we post them on our Facebook page and our website. But the most effective way is to advocate to the state and federal agencies that are going to be considering this, because again, they did state that they heavily weigh local opinion. So whichever way people would like to reach out, and then, you know, we can assist as needed. We do have Kayla Muller here who's a reporter for CBS 13. She's in the back, and she may be looking for opinions, or maybe not. Maybe she'll be, yeah, she is, okay. Okay, yes, she just said for those who couldn't hear, come talk to her if you feel inclined. So we just wanted to make sure the public were aware, because we knew there would be a lot of passionate opinions about this.
Oh, great. Thank you for the clarification. I just want to thank everybody who made comments today, and just let you know that we are available for further comments in the future. And Larry, it's great to see you back in the chambers here. Wish you were on this side of the fence with us. But thanks for coming today, and I appreciate your recommendation as well. So thank you very much.
Okay, Supervisor Ziegelmeier.
A lot of great things were said here today. History. We all respect history. We wouldn't be where we're at if it wasn't for history. I mean, some was bad, some was good. My dad joined he joined the Navy after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Right when he heard about it, he enlisted, joined in. And, you know, I teach my kids about the American Revolution, the Civil War, the Indian tribes, especially when they go in the Sutter Buttes and they do their, second, third grade field trips, and learn all about it. I think it's amazing. We have a lot of great history here. Matter of fact, we were talking about how not just Sutter, but in Macy's and Marysville, if you go by old property there on Highway 20, you'll see Thompson Seedless Grapes. There's a lot of great history here. And there's a lot of bad history. I mean, you look at, you know, we teach our kids all of it, you know, from the bad, the bombing of the Trade Center, Pearl Harbor. We teach them all of it. And hopefully they learn from the past history. And we all learn as a community, because there was some very bad things that happened back. But when I think of the Sutter Buttes, I think of what I'm wearing right here, my community, Sutter High School, Sutter Huskies, Sutter Junior Huskies, you know, and so forth. And it means so much more than just, but we tie it all together, you know, and we talk about those things, about those bad things, because there was some bad things that happened. But I'm a positive guy, and I like to talk about the positive stuff, the walks in the Buttes up to the water tower, the teams running up around the Buttes, the bike around the Buttes and so forth. And, you know, we talk about history. You know, the one thing I'm going to bring up today, because we're actually talking about this, and I didn't realize this was put on today's agenda until we talked about it, but I'm going to bring up the fact that I'd like to see a YouTube, we had a YouTube pilot who passed away in a training mission not too long ago, Colonel Ira S. Addy. I'd like to see a memorial put up there in his honor. I mean, this is a guy that fought for our country, lost his life right here in our hometown and so forth. And, you know, it's time that we start talking about that. But we talk about so many other things, and I have had many people reach out in the community, and I'm glad that they're reaching out. We are planning on having a town hall. I've already talked with the sheriff, and we're planning on having our town halls in our community. I'm sure my constituents, or I'm sorry, my colleagues are doing the same thing. And we'll have those papers so we can get your input. It's very important. I know I see some landowners here that were born and raised in the Buttes that know a lot more than I do. I mean, I'm looking at one right there whose family is, whose family has owned land in the Buttes for many, many years. So it's imperative, like I said. You know, I go to them and I ask them as well, because they're born and raised, and they have, you know, those in their past, like I said, that have gone back. But I respect everyone's opinion. That's what we're here for. Respect it. And we want to know more, so please reach out to us when we have those town hall meetings come out. I loved what you had to say, Sheree. I loved what everyone had to say. And thank you for coming out. And please, like I said, you want to talk to the reporter, reach out to there. But like I said, if you look on my Facebook account, I was born and raised in Sutter. I love the Sutter Buttes. That's my hometown. I don't plan on going anywhere else. I'm a Sutter Husky for life. All right?
Thank you, Supervisor Ziegemeier. Well, look, obviously, most of you would know my personal opinion is that I would be against this name change, but I think that we, all of us, all 5 of us, when Supervisor Conant returns, would like to get out to our districts and get the feedback so that we can accurately reflect what it is that they would want. I think we may know the answer, but we definitely need to give everybody a chance to speak. Also, Steve, I know you'd mentioned that they do consider the local opinion here before they would move forward with the name change, and so I know we're looking for some direction from the board tonight. I wonder if it would be worth you as a CAO reaching out to other local counties, CAOs, and for us to reach out to our counterparts with Colusa, Yuba, Butte, possibly Yolo counties, and everybody that has the Sutter Buttes in line of sight to possibly see if they would be in opposition of the name change as well, that maybe they would also jump on board with us if that is the decision that we ultimately come to. Might carry a little bit more weight with the federal government. So just something to consider while we're out there talking to all of our constituents. So anything else from the board? Other than that, I don't think we need any action right now. So, okay. Thank you very much. All right, moving on. Follow-up reports and announcements. Supervisor Ziegemeier, you want to start?
Okay, so I brought it.
Oh, sorry, yes.
I'm very sorry. If I may, before people leave, because one question that was earlier is that the 99 and Oswald interchange is currently out to bid. Construction is planned to start in October, and it'll last over a year until January 2026. That's the current schedule from Caltrans. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Supervisor Ziegemeier, you ready?
I just would like to close in memory of Ken Freeman, who passed away, formerly of Sutter, and of Larry Smith, who passed away of Sutter, who actually grew up in the Sutter Buttes. You know, for him, the Sutter Buttes meant that, you know, Easter Sunday there with his family and so forth, and like close in memory of him. And wow, high school football is upon us almost. Football, I believe football practice just started for him this week, I think, yesterday. So good luck to the high school football teams this year and the girls volleyball teams. And there's going to be girls flag football in this area. It's an actual high school sport. I'm really excited about it, to watch it. So a new San Joaquin sport. I believe Sutter High School is going to have a team this year. So a lot of great things. Sutter's going to have a rugby team. A lot of good things going on in Sutter. Lions Club is doing an amazing job with their water trough right there on Butte House. Oh, it looks amazing. They've really taken the bulls by the horns there, and it looks great, guys. Love it. And that is a community. That's history. That's when you see something like, for me, also, I know I'm rambling on here, but when I look at the Oswego pool and what it used to look like, and then what it looks like now, you know, I tell my kids, I said, hey, you know, there's this great guy named Joe Moorhead that came in and really helped out a lot of great families, and that's teaching things. It's Catlett Hall, you know, and so forth, you know, but that's, hey, history's always changing. So, but have a great week, guys.
Okay, thank you. And if I could have my name added to Larry Smith's for the condolence letter. Okay, Supervisor Flores.
Sorry to interrupt you. I did want to make sure that staff looks into, I'd like to put on our agenda for the next meeting for that memorial for the U-2 pilot who passed away in that training mission there in the Sutter Buttes.
All right, now Supervisor Flores. Sure. I think so.
I'd like to please add my name to Ken Freeman's letter as well, please. He was a good friend of the family. I just have somebody sent me a poem about the heart of Sutter County. So if you'll just listen for a moment, I'll just go ahead and read it. In the heart of Sutter County, where life's vibrant and sweet, lies the 2nd District, centered on Plumas Street, a boulevard bustling with restaurants galore from dawn's early light till the stars start to soar. Happy Viking calls with its beer and its wings so fine, a haven for friends to laugh and to dine. City Cafe beckons with meals that delight, while Sopa Thai serves flavors both bold and bright. Newest to the scene is Hooligans makes its mark, a culinary treasure as the sky turns dark. Sutter Butte's Brewing, where the brews are supreme, a gathering place where locals convene. Linda's Cafe serves breakfast and lunch with cheer, a cozy spot where comfort is near. Fernando's Mexican Restaurant, with flavors so grand, brings the taste of Mexico to this vibrant land. Parades weave through a festive embrace on Pluma Street. Joy finds its place. Farmers' markets flourish, families gather round. A tapestry of community, love profound. Shopping on the street with nice little shops, where each window displays unique, lovely stops. The post office stands, a pillar in the mix, near the Yuba Sutter Arts, where the culture is affixed. The theater lights up with acts that amaze, a beacon of talent in 1,000 ways. By the fountain, Sutter Health's presence is clear, award-winning care held close and dear. A surgical center, an urgent care's touch, healing hands that mean so much. Wonderful neighborhoods with warmth in the air, a place to live, work, and play without compare. In the 2nd District, where life's colors meet, Sutter County's heart beats strong and sweet. So thank you for listening to that. But I thought that was pretty cool. So, yeah, it's anonymous. Sorry, they didn't want to put their
Anonymous?
name out. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I think it was
All right,
I didn't
thank you.
write it. I'm not a poet. I didn't write it.
Supervisor Baines.
I'd like to add to the letter going to the family of Ken Freeman as well, and also request a letter of condolences and sympathy go out to the family of Doug Rudd. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so let's talk about Doug Rudd a little bit too, and I'll have my name and Supervisor Conant's added as well. Doug is a good friend of the family. He passed away on July 16th. Good friend of mine, friends of our family, and I know for Supervisor Conant, they had known each other for 40 or 45 years in the same fraternity at Cal Poly, and so Doug will be greatly missed. So, and then also would like to close memory of Rick Howell. That both Matt Conant and myself as well, and he passed away July 11th. And also want to remind everybody, National Night Out, Sutter County Sheriff's National Night Out will be Tuesday, August 6th from 5:30 to 9 p.m. at 1077 Civic Center Boulevard. So I think that's it. So we will adjourn, and we're going to have a closed session. So thank you, everybody.
Okay,
Excuse me, Mr.
motion-
Chairman.
motion
Sorry,
to
motion for the letters, yes.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Supervisor McKelly?
Aye.
Supervisor Flores?
Aye.
Supervisor Ziegemeier? Supervisor Baines?
Aye.
Bye, Marge.
Thank you.
Conference, the closed session is conference with labor negotiators Gina Rowland and Veronica Baumgartner.
Bye, Marge.
Sutter County Deputy Sheriff's Association and Sutter County Peace Officers Association pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6.